Welcome to this Power Core Strength Vinyasa practice. Before we get into the practice, I'd just like to start off with some props. So grab some props if you need to. I've got my yoga mat here. Perhaps a blanket for the end of the practice in Shavasana, relaxation. A yoga block makes poses a little bit more accessible if you can't reach fingertips to the floor, as does a yoga strap. Not a necessity, I do give you modifications to ease into the poses, however. And this is just a little lavender and wheat eye pillow, which can be handy at the end of the practice to pop over the eyes to help you relax. This class has been designed with poses, breath work and philosophy to help ease stress and anxiety. So this class has been filmed during a lockdown again here in New South Wales, Australia. So kids are outside playing because there's no school on, and adults are all in their homes. So just allowing and accepting for difference in circumstance. Which brings me to the theme for this class, Santosha. Santosha is the Sanskrit name for the second Niyama. Niyama means observance or discipline, one of the yogi philosophies. And Santosha basically translates as contentment. And I'll talk to you about that during the class. So getting started, I'm actually sitting on a block on the middle setting, and that just lifts me up a little bit higher because it can be a little uncomfortable sitting on the shins if you have any knee issues. If you're still uncomfortable in this position, maybe coming cross-legged to begin our breath work. A great breath work to help ease stress and anxiety is Nadi Shodhana Pranayama, alternate nostril breath. And it's a good breath because it helps balance the system, the left and right hemispheres of the brain, and it brings about a sense of peace and calm. So we're going to start off peace fingers, bringing them together, so it's the index and the middle finger, and we place them on the bridge between the eyebrows at the third eye center. Now from here, you're going to bring the thumb to one nostril and the ring finger to the other nostril. And we will alternate between the thumb and the ring finger. When one thumb is pressed against the closest nostril, the other finger or thumb is off, and then you switch them around, yeah? So from here, press into the shins, lengthen the spine. We're going to start off breathing in and out through the right nostril. So you might want to block the other nostril so you can breathe in through the right nostril. And then switch fingers, breathe out through the left nostril. Keep that hand position, breathe in through the left nostril. Switch fingers, breathe out through the right nostril. I'm going to just continue that. Breathing in, switching, breathing out. Breathing in, switching fingers, breathing out. Breathing in, switch fingers, breathing out. Breathing in, switch fingers, and we're going to finish off here breathing out. Releasing the hand. Noticing in that very short breath work, if you feel a little calmer, more peaceful, you may even need a tissue to wipe the nose. And then coming back, focus on the breath. So we're breathing in through the nose and breathing back out through the nose. Continue with that nostril breath throughout the class. Regular yogis, you might like to use victorious breath, Ujjayi Pranayama, where we clench the back of the throat. Just remember that is a heating breath, so if you don't feel like getting heated or if you have a medical condition, stick with the nostril breathing. And then we're going to move now onto hands and knees. Just popping that block aside. Now I'm aligning my hands under the shoulders, my knees under the hips, and I've got a neutral spine here. Coming into cow pose, we drop the chest and belly and we lift the chin. And then slowly press into the hands and feet and we reverse that curve, dropping the tailbone, dropping the head. Inhale, moving back into our cow pose, arch in the back. Exhale, rounding like a cat, tucking the chin. 2 more, inhale. Exhale, rounding, pull the belly button into the spine. And now inhale, just come back to a natural breath and back to a natural spine. I like to move the hands forward 1 hand length and spread the fingers wide, pressing into the fingertips, out palms. Curl your toes under, lift the hips up and back, downward facing dog. Now we're going to ease into it by bending one leg, straightening the other, and switch that around. And then a little faster, walking it out to ease into your downward facing dog. Adho Mukha Svanasana is the Sanskrit name for our downward facing dog. And then bend both legs, really push into the hands and pull your hips to the back corner of the roof. And then from that position, belly button draws into the spine. You've got a neutral alignment of the pelvis here. And then start to straighten the legs only to where the pelvis allows. No moving the pelvis. Good, downward dog. A couple of deep breaths here. I like to turn the armpits towards each other. That helps broaden my upper back and draw the rib cage in and down, front of the rib cage. And then as you breathe out, start to walk your feet towards your hands. So my feet are hip width, arms are draping towards the floor. Let the head be heavy. Allowing the weight of the head to just stretch the spine here. And then you could, if you want to go deeper, bring hand to opposite elbow. You could do a little swing side to side. Listening up a little more. And making your way back to center. Release the hands to the floor. Hands down for support, and then a little rock onto the balls of feet, and then the heels forward and back. Find your center of balance here. Push into the feet, and we start to roll all the way up. And I like to unfurl the arms up to the sky and palms together at heart center. A little moment here where throughout the class, throughout our week perhaps, practice being satisfied and appreciating of what we already have. A good way to practice contentment or Santosha. Reaching the arms to the sky. Exhale, we're going to fold forward again. Breath in, wave the spine long, so we're onto the tops of the fingertips, or maybe hands to shins. And then hands set up, out further in front of you, fingers are spread, and I walk my feet back, downward facing dog, setting up again, armpits towards each other, neutral pelvis, belly drawing in and up. From here, lift your heels, breathing in, Bend your legs a lot from the breath out. We're going to wave forward. So think of that cat position again. Tap the chin, curve back, and then wave forward, straightening the legs and unfurling the spine, high plank. We're going to drop onto the knees. This is our modified Sun A or Vinyasa practice. We come forward with the elbows over the wrists onto the tummy, onto the tops of the feet, and then push into the hands and the tops of the toes, wave it up. Cobra, pulling the palms back, inner thighs are lifting, and I'm long through the back of my neck. Curl the toes under, back to downward facing dog. My feet hip width, heels are hiding behind my ankles, so I've got neutral alignment of the legs in the hip socket. Now empty the breath fully. Walk your feet to your hands. I like to leave my feet hip width. Traditionally, feet are together, toes together, so up to you. I find this a little bit more organic. And then waving the spine long, inhale. Exhale, fold. Pushing into the feet, rolling all the way back up. Hands can come together at heart center. Reaching the arms to the sky. Exhale, fold it forward. Wave the spine long and straight. Setting up, downward dog again. Lifting the heels. Bend the legs, waving forward to that high plank. The chest can drop between the shoulders. Thighs are squeezing tight. Now you can drop onto the knees again to modify, or come forward, stacking elbows over wrists, chaturanga, onto the tops of the feet, cobra or upward facing dog, as I'm demonstrating here. Hips up and back, downward facing dog. Empty the breath. Step or jump feet to the hands, waving long inhale. Exhale, fold. Now bend the legs lots. From here, hips are low. I reach the arms up to the sky. My palms face towards each other. And the shoulders are soft and relaxed. Take another deep breath in here. Exhale, fold forward. Uttanasana. Waving the spine long and straight. Ardha Uttanasana. I step back to that long downward facing dog. Now you can stay resting here in your downward facing dog, or go through that flow again. Waving forward. Inhale. Modify if you want. Exhale. Chaturanga or onto the tummy. Cobra or upward facing dog, and back to downward facing dog. Inhale, we're going to raise, bend the limbs, and then start to raise the right leg to the sky. Re-straighten the limbs, the arms, and that left leg. And then bend the limbs again. Push into the hands and feet, tiger curl. Now in the tiger curl, by bending the limbs, I get a little springy and I'm able to lift the hips really high, which is important for the next step, where we eventually bring that right foot through in a moment. Now bend the limbs again. Inhale, take that right leg back up to the sky. Bend the limbs, bring that right foot through to the right thumb. Okay. From here, I squeeze my thighs like I'm trying to hug the flesh to the bone, and draw my thighs in towards each other, and that helps lengthen my spine as I take a breath in. And then lift the right arm. We're twisting to the right for your breath out. Still squeezing the thighs, hugging them into the midline. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, hands to the floor. Now push into the hands and the ball of that back foot to lift up high again into your tiger curl. and back to downward dog. Repeating that, bend the limbs. Inhale, raise the left leg. Bend the limbs, tiger curl. Getting high. Lift it up again, inhale. Bend the limbs, come through. Left foot to left thumb. Squeeze the thighs, hug them in towards each other. And on an inhale, lengthen the spine. Raising the left arm on your breath out. Staying here. Take another deep breath in. Exhale, palms to the floor. Step it back, downward dog. Rest in your dog or wave it forward into your Vinyasa. Meeting back, downward facing dog. Raising the right leg again. Now as I do that, I want to keep the right leg neutral in the hip socket. So I lift the inner thigh so the heel faces up. I'm going to come through that tiger curl again. Right foot through to the right thumb. Lengthening the spine as you breathe in. Bend the back leg, exhale. We roll on up. Crescent lunge, Vinyasa. Now I've still got that back leg bent. I pull my belly in and up towards the spine. And then I can straighten that leg just to where my pelvis again allows, without shifting the pelvis. And if that means I've got a slightly bent leg, that's okay. I'm not overstretching the hip flexor. Take another deep breath in. Exhale, back heel spins in and flat. Arms reach out, warrior two. Stretch the fingertips away from you and relax your shoulders away from the ears. And I'm gazing over that front middle finger. My right knee is over my right ankle. Stay to empty the breath. Inhale, I turn the right toe to face the left floor and my hands come up on diagonals. 5-pointed star. Now from here, palms can come together to heart center. And I'm going to bend my left leg, and I'm bending that and shifting my weight as much as I can over the left foot. And then hands can, we might leave them here for a moment. Then we're going to bend the right leg. I've shifted my weight. Bend the left leg again, shifting the weight to the left. Arms can come straight out again. Reach them away from you. And I've dropped my chest so it's parallel to the floor. Stay to empty the breath. Inhale, come upright. And then I'm turning my heels in, toes out, hands are coming up, and I bend the legs. Now I'm going to lean over, elbow towards the right thigh, to a little bend here. And over to the left side. One more, over to the right side. Just getting a stretch through the left side body and over to the left side. And I'm coming back to center. I turn the left heel back. Right toe faces the same way as the knee. And I'm looking over the right fingertips. And then hands come either side of the front foot. Pick up that foot, tiger curl, and back to downward facing dog. On to the other leg. Inhale, left leg lifts, tiger curl, left foot to left thumb. Squeeze the thighs and lengthen on an inhale. Bend the back leg. Exhale, I'm rolling up. Pit of the belly into the spine. And then from there, straightening the back leg. Palms face towards each other. Back heel spins in and flat. warrior two. Long arms reaching, shoulders soft. My inner thighs are also lifting up. Outer thighs are heading down. So I've got an external rotation of the legs in the hip socket. Stay to empty the breath. Inhale, turn the left toe to face the right wall, hands up on diagonals into our 5-pointed star. This time, we head into our Skandasana lunges. Palms come up to heart center. Now I bend the right leg, your right leg. Good. Switch it over, bending the left leg. Bending the right leg again. Hands out to the side, and I try and bring, if it's attainable, my chest parallel to the floor. Stretching through the inner legs. So lots of work on stretching and toning the whole back body from the crown of the head all the way to the heels, and also the inner thighs. So hamstrings and inner thighs for stress and anxiety work. Coming all the way back to center, coming upright. We're going to interlace the hands behind the back. Push into the feet. Pull the chin in, look up. When we start to hinge at the hips, we take the hands with us. Coming forward, squeeze the thighs, flesh to the bone. And the hands can head all the way towards the floor as well. Feeling that lovely stretch through the back side of the body again here. So lots of poses. As I mentioned, for the back body, that works our bladder meridian. When we stretch and turn the front body and the inner legs, that's working our kidney meridians, little energy channels. And we want to work those. They're the two meridian lines that are dominant during winter, but they're also great to work when you need to ease stress and anxiety. Now empty the breath where you are here. I'm going to come up just halfway. Keep squeezing into the legs and come all the way up. Inhale. Good. Right toe turns, warrior two. And left toe turns, warrior two. Hands come either side of that front foot. Pick up, back to downward dog. Now, your choice. You can wade through that vinyasa again. You can hang out in downward dog. Or you can come to rest in child's pose. Balasana. My knees are wide, toes together, and I rest my forehead towards the floor. If that's a little low, maybe you're going to rest it on a block. And here we get a nice stretch through both bladder and kidney meridian lines. So I'm going to stretch through the back of my spine, back of my neck, and through the inner legs. Balasana is also very calming. Now the kidney line also runs along the ball of the feet. So I'm going to just sit with the toes curl under for a moment onto the balls. It can be quite uncomfortable. And try and relax into that. So a way of practicing Santosha or contentment is we don't consider so much things as good or as bad. They just are as they are. So we're okay in either situation. A little phrase I once read, we are unable to find contentment without being firmly grounded in acceptance of our life situation, knowing who we are and existing in the present moment. So staying present through our breath work and letting go of that need to worry about the future. Staying anchored here and now. Coming out of that one. So, that same meridian line for the kidney that goes under the balls of the feet also heads up to the inside of the ankle. So we'll be doing some work on that shortly. It also comes all the way up to the throat and the tongue. So a good one for that is our lion's pose or lion's breath. So for this one, we're just going to sit back onto the shins again. You could even sit on the block. And for this one, we want to eventually, on the breath out, stick our tongue out and do a lion's roar with your eyes bulging out of their sockets. So I'll give you some demonstration. I'll give you a demonstration of that, and then you can join in with me. It's a good one to get rid of any tension, especially around the face. So I take a deep breath in. And a roar out. One more time. Please join me. Deep breath in. Breath out. Moving on. Moving my block again. Coming back up, downward facing dog. You can step or jump. Feet to the hands. Waving long, inhale. Uttanasana and forward fold, exhale. And then lengthen the spine again. Feet are separated, hip width apart. Two fingers, first two fingers and thumb, wrap around the big toes. And then from here, fold over the legs. My arms are just bending out to the side and I bow my head. Forward bend's extremely calming. Shake out the head so you know there's no tension in the back of the neck. Working on the bladder meridian again, and the whole back body. And similar to Chinese medicine, with their acupuncture or acupressure, same meridian lines we're using here. And then release the hands, push into the feet, we're rolling all the way up to standing. So another good pose for the bladder meridian to help us feel calm and peaceful is your tree pose. We're going to tweak it a little, however, to be a bit more of a kidney pose, whereby we bend. I'm just going to mirror teach here, so I'm using my left leg, but it'll be your right here. So bending your right leg, you can stay on the ball of the foot, connecting that foot to your ankle, or take it off and push the foot to the ankle. As you push the foot to the ankle, lengthen as you breathe in. And so we've got it on the inner ankle for the kidney meridian, helping us to stay a little calm, focused. Hands could even come to heart center. And in this practice, like I mentioned at the start with our intention, being satisfied and appreciating what we already have. Maybe practicing and being satisfied to be in our tree pose. We feel like we're grounding our roots into the earth, reaching the crown of the head to the sun. Through Santosha, we learn to live in the world but not get attached to it. So Santosha is the practice also of non-attachment. Therefore, with non-attachment, you can feel less suffering. I'm going to switch the legs. So we're bending the left leg onto the ball of the foot or foot to the ankle. Connect it in to lift up out of the hips. each breath in and out through the nose, helping us to stay in this present moment, in our sight. And gently releasing that foot to the floor. Coming back through our flow towards the front of the mat. Reaching the arms up, inhale. Exhale, fold forward. Breathing, waving long. Step it back. Just going to come to plank pose. Dandasana. And drop onto the hands and knees. Now we're going to come into another really good pose. It's an inversion. Inversions are really good to calm us. Twists are also good to release tension and tightness throughout the spine. And then we've got all the forward folds that are quite calming. Back bends as our counter pose, and they also work on the kidney meridian line. So from here, my hands are roughly under the line of my shoulders. I'm going to bring them forward one hand length. Fingers are spread, and I'm going to drop onto my forearms. So my elbows are under the line of my shoulders here, my palms are spread. Now from here, I'm going to curl the toes under if they're not already, and lift the hips high. Downward facing dog it would be if we're on our hands, but it's dolphin pose on our forearms, so we pull the hips back. Good. And you get a big stretch through the chest. Try and draw the rib cage towards the back ribs. Good. Coming back down for a moment. We have a little rest in child's pose. And then we're going to repeat that into a forearm plank to get into some core strength. Core work also helps us to feel strong and courageous, to work through times of difficulty, times of uncertainty and change. So setting up again, coming forward and curling the toes up, lifting up into our dolphin. Now from here we're going to come to our forearm plank. So I walk my feet towards the back of the mat and I lower my hips only to kind of shoulder height. Push into what meets the earth, the forearms, hands, balls of the feet to lift the hips, yeah? And then bring the toes together to touch. So we're in our forearm plank, squeeze the thighs, and we're going to come to a side plank. Now this may not be for you, and if this is all too strong, drop onto the knees, have a rest. So if you're going to attempt the forearm side plank, left hand comes towards the right elbow. I swing my heels to the left, and I'm lifting my right arm to the sky. Hips lifting upwards. My feet are stacked. You could even lift that right heel off the left a little, so the legs are in a neutral alignment. Hip socket. Deep breath in. Exhale, lower that right arm where it came from, and then left hand comes back. Swapping sides, right hand comes to the left shoulder, left elbow, sorry. Heel spin right, and I lift the left arm to the sky. Hold it here, maybe looking up, another 3. Pushing into what meets the earth to lift the hips, 2. Last 1. Left forearm back down, the hips are still lifting. Right fingers come back, and we'll drop onto the knees. Have a little rest. Arms by your side, head to one side. back bends. So head back to center. I'm going to take the hands out on a diagonal here and open my legs up onto a diagonal. So you're in kind of a starfish shape. From here, lift the head and chest. Lift the right arm and left leg. So it's opposite arm to legs. I stretch them long away from each other as I lift. Still breathing. And I'm long through the back of the neck. So not juicing the orange. Long through the back neck. Gently release. Other side, head and chest lift. Left arm, right leg. Lengthen them away from each other. Keeping long through the back of the neck. So I mentioned last class about the orange behind the neck. You don't want to juice it by lifting the chin. Keep the chin slightly neutral. Gently release. Arms by your side, legs back together, and you might want to rest your head to the other side. Coming, head back to center. Now this time, palms face down on the floor, lifting the legs off the ground and the head and chest. Now my inner thighs are lifting upwards. My shoulder blades curl to back ribs. You can leave the hands there, or they might be out in front like goalposts. Or if you want to go deeper, bend the legs. Reach the hands back for the ankles. If you can grab them, hitch yourself up a little. Good. Now you can, traditionally, the feet are in line with the hips. When we want to work bladder and kidney meridian, you can take the legs out quite wide. Again, don't juice the orange. Keep length through the back neck. Working the bladder and kidney meridian lines to help release some stress and anxiety. Keep us calm, grounded, courageous. Releasing down, head to one side again. Bringing the hands under the line of the shoulders, pushing into the hands and knees. And we'll have a little rest in that lovely forward fold, Balasana. Head to the floor. So I have also made an ebook many years ago for stress and anxiety. So you might be able to find that on Amazon through the Kindle platform. Yoga for Stress and Anxiety by Spirit Yoga. And there is also a winter yoga booklet on there as well. Winter yoga, it's 10 poses for the bladder and kidney meridian lines. So they're quite helpful, and they have a mini class on there and a step-by-step guide to the poses and some philosophy and breathing and meditation techniques that can be quite beneficial as well. So starting to come all the way up. And then from here, we're going to just scoot feet one way, hips the other, and bring the feet out in front. And we're coming onto lay down on our back. So for this one, back into some poses to help with stress and anxiety. Sleeping butterfly, Supta Baddha Konasana, soles of the feet together and letting the inner thighs and knees drop open. Now in this pose, we're going to, similar to your bridge poses, we're going to lift up the hips. So setting up, palms down for support, soles of the feet pushing in towards each other. Now you push into the palms, the outer blades of your feet and your shoulders, and we take a breath in first of all here. And on your out breath, lift your hips and waist. So you're up high on the shoulders, outer blades of the feet down, palms down. And then inhale, we're going to come all the way link by link down. 3 more. Exhale, peel off just the tailbone first. Waist and hips, all the way up chest high. Inhale, start with the chest, waist, hips, tailbone down. 2 more. Exhale up. Might be slightly different breath to you're used to as well. And on the inhale, link by link down. 1 more. Exhale, peeling up. And inhale, link by link, back down. Bring the knees together for a moment and hug the knees to the chest. Just gently. Little rock side to side. Good. Setting up again. Now from here, you could do that when instead of the pulsing up and down, you might just come up and hold for 4 to 5 breaths and come back down. That's another option. For this next one, we're going to take the hips up, and then we're going to take the hips to the right, center, left, center, and we'll do that 4 times in total. I'll give you a quick demo before we go anywhere. So breath in where we stay. When we come up is the exhale breath. We pause here for the inhale. Now my hips are moving horizontally to the floor. I'm not tilting like I'm showing you now, where I'm dipping the right hip down and the left hip down. What I'm doing is a side bend. I'm stretching the right side of my body and the hips stay parallel to the floor. On the in breath, I come back to center. On the out breath, I shoot my left hip to the left wall. It's not dipping, and back to center. Yeah, and then 1 more each side and slowly down. So we're going to do that together. Push the soles of the feet in, palms down. Stay here for your breath in. Hips lift, breath out. Stay where you are for the breath in. On your breath out, take the hips right. No dipping. Back to center, 1 horizontal plane. Left. Inhale, center. 1 more each side. Right. Center. Exhale, left. Center. You could do 4 more if you wanted to, but we're going to drop on down. Good. Now this time, just bring your feet hip width, maybe to the outside edge of the mat. Knees above them. Hands out to the side, and we're going to let the knees stay, feet stay where they are, knees start to shift to the right, and you're going to look to the left. If you want, the right foot can come to the outside edge of the left knee, and a little bit of weight helps stretch the outer left hip. If that doesn't feel right on your knees, skip it. Go back to what you were just in. Releasing that right foot, knees back up, so the feet are still wide. Keep them wide, drop the knees to the left, look to the right, stay there, or lift that left foot and place the left heel on the outside edge of the right knee. Only if it feels okay. Stretching that right outer hip. Is your awareness still on your breath from start to finish? The inhale, the exhale, staying present. 1 step towards content. Maybe that next step is happiness. Releasing that left foot, knees back up. Good. Now, we'll hug the knees to the chest again. Now keep the legs bent. Drop the left foot to the floor, and we're going to raise the right leg. Now, if you're someone who needs a strap here, grab hold of your strap. but if you haven't got one, it's okay because I've got lots of options for you. If you're a strap person, you might just find the middle of the strap. It's probably the quickest and easiest way. Pop that around the arch of the foot and you'll just grab hold of the strap and help ease that right leg towards you. If you don't have a strap, maybe you can reach interlacing the hands under the hamstring, hopefully. Those who are a little more mobile might grab interlacing the back of the calf. And if you're more flexible, pistol grip around the big toe and ease that leg towards you. So getting into the bladder meridian line again. We're also just loosening up the hamstrings for what's coming next, which is shoulder stand sequence, which gets us really calm and peaceful. Now, shoulder stand sequence, when we head to it, may not be for you, and that's fine. If you've got neck issues, back issues, you may not want to head there, and I'll give you some options instead. So stick around, there's still a pose for everyone. Another way of playing Santosha, practicing Santosha, contentment in your yoga class is watching how you are in your poses. So do you get a little annoyed, a little frustrated because your leg's bent or you can't get it very close towards you? So practicing self-compassion and acceptance of where you are in this moment. Can you be okay with life as it is, even if we're in the middle of lockdown? So it doesn't mean that we never change our circumstances. If a circumstance isn't great for you, or then you need to kind of change the situation. But don't use Santosha as an excuse just to be lazy. But when there isn't anything we can do about a situation, then practicing accepting can be quite beneficial to our peace of mind. Helps us let go of the drama. Alright, we're going to bend that right leg, bring the right ankle to the left knee, take that left foot off the floor, and we're going to interlace behind that left hamstring. Ease the legs towards you for our supine pigeon, sometimes called figure of four. Switching the legs, raising the left leg to the sky, getting into our hamstring stretch. Again, using your strap if you need, or interlace the hands behind the hamstring, calf or pistol grip around the big toe, easing that leg towards you. Read a couple of Eckhart Tolle books. And in one of the books, I do recall him suggesting that we accept our situation, our life, as it is, right here, right now, as if we had chosen it for ourselves. Be a big ask. Can you accept your life as it is, right now, as if you had chosen it for yourself? And then notice how you feel. Bending that leg, left ankle to knee, take that right foot off the floor and interlace the hands behind the leg, easing that leg towards you, leaving you in a little quiet. Gently releasing both feet to the floor. Now we're going to set up for our shoulder stand sequence. Few options. If this isn't for you, you've got the back neck issues. Maybe you get high blood pressure, so you don't want to be upside down in an inversion, something else like that. Use your block, or maybe a few cushions or pillows that you've got at your home. Feet hip width apart, push into the feet, lift the hips, and you're going to rest the sacrum or the hips onto the block. So you could be just on the flat here, which I prefer. It keeps my pelvis more stable, I think. Or you can come up higher, up to you. Low setting's going to do me today. And then taking my legs straight up to the sky. So I am getting an inversion here where the blood's kind of pooling down from my feet down towards my heart. So that could be your option. For the rest of us, we're going to set up into our shoulder stand sequence. So you could, if you've got your lovely lavender scented eye pillow, you could even use that under your neck just to give a little bit of cushioning here, and it just starts to calm us down a little bit with that scent of lavender wafting up as we heat it with our own body heat, helping us to stay a little calmer. So I might go over a little more. Alright, so shoulder stand. I want you to have a little look first of all at the sequence. I'm going to quickly show it to you. In fast time, you will hold each pose for maybe 7 breaths, if that's attainable. If you need to come out, move through the sequence faster, please feel free to do that. So just taking a look at what we'll be doing, because once you're up here, you don't want to be looking around, you want to keep your neck steady, yeah? So from here, I start to lift my hips up, and I use my hands to help balance my hips on. Now, if you're a newbie to this, or not so mobile, you might be on this kind of an angle where my torso is on a 45-degree angle, and so are my legs, and that is fine. Those of you who've been practicing a little longer or are more mobile, yours is going to look a little bit more like a candlestick with the torso heading straight up as well as the feet. Now I like to what we call flint feet. So we point the feet and flex just the toes back. Now why do I do that? When I point the feet, I activate the back of my leg. When I flex the feet, I activate the front of my leg. So when I combine both of these, I've got nice active legs front and back. Yep. So shoulder stand is this one. Good. Now you can stay here. You could do slight cycling movement if you want, or just stay stationary. So after 5 to 7 breaths, we start to take the legs down towards the floor. Yours might look a little bit more like this with bent legs, feet not touching the floor. Those who are more mobile, feet will touch balls of the feet to the floor. Hands stay on the hips unless you definitely comfortably can touch the balls of the feet to the floor. Now if they touch, you can interlace the hands, straighten the arms as I'm showing. So this is Halasana plow pose. Maybe 7 breaths here, and then deaf man's, we bend the legs, hug the knees in towards the ears, which is where it gets that deaf man's name from. Maybe 7 breaths here, or hands on the hips if your knees are up high. And then when you're ready to come out, link by link, lowering the legs all the way slowly back down. So let's guide you through our shoulder stand sequence. Setting up, feet to the sky, palms down for support. Start to get a little bit of a rock happening to lift your hips to whatever position you're in. Elbows, draw them in towards you. Pointing the feet. Point the toes, flex the toes back, and lift the balls of the feet to the sky. Inner thighs head back, so you've got neutral alignment of the legs in the hip socket. Deep, slow breaths here. And your shoulder stand sequence could be a good practice to do before bed, as long as you have warmed up. You've got a nice stretch through that back side of the body, as we did with that hamstring stretch. And some sun salutations. And of course, if you need to go through this faster than I am, because you can't hold it, feel free to do that, and we'll all just meet resting on our back. Transitioning now to plow, Halasana. Deaf man's when you're ready. Accepting wherever you are in your pose, and that can change from week to week, practice to practice. When we're injured, sometimes the hardest practice is not listening to the ego, wanting to practice how we normally can, but listening to the needs of our body, practicing within our limits. Ready to come out of deaf man's, palms back down for support, and we slowly, no crash landings, ease on out of your shoulder stand. Wiggle. And then coming into a counter pose, feet are going to come to the outside edge of your mat and the feet flex up. Hands, I'm just going to move my little pillow, wig pillow. And then the hands come out to the side, like hands level with the shoulders, yeah? Now from here we're going to lift the hips and the chest up into a bit of a back bend. So pushing into the heels, start to lift the hips. Now let the heels slide in a little as you lift the hips higher. Flex the feet, push into the hands, the shoulders, hips are lifting, holding another 3, 2, 1, and gently lower the hips back down. Bending the legs. Just coming into some twists to finish. Twists are awesome to release tension from the spine that's built up from stressing about the future or what's going on in our lives, rather than accepting and allowing our body to release So, starting off, knees over the lines of the hips, hands out to the side. We're going to just drop the knees one way. Now you could use a block here if the knees don't touch the floor under the thigh, and try to adjust both shoulders so they're square to the floor and look to the left. And then bringing the knees and head back to center. Let the knees fall the opposite direction. Square the shoulders. Pop that block underneath if you need and look the opposite direction. A little quote to send you on your way. Riches are not from abundance, but from a contented mind. Practicing Santosha, accepting where you are in this very moment. One step towards contentment. One step towards riches. And knees and head back to center. Finally into the pose we all came here for, Shavasana corpse pose. So legs are slightly apart. You could grab your blanket if you want, depending on the temperature in the room. Cover yourself with the blanket. Legs are slightly apart, hands away from you, or you could bend the legs if your back's a little sore and screaming at you, with the feet hip width, and let the knees knock in towards each other for support. Placing your little eye pillow on if you want, and I'll let you just drift away here. 2 to 5 minutes, maybe longer, could be 10. Allowing everything from your practice, the benefits from your practice, to settle on into your system.